it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday at 7:20 p.m. and I uploaded my YouTube videos on Thursdays, and I was like, I need a topic. And I was going through my topics about what I was going to talk about, like how to grow your marketing or how to price your products or like all these how-tos. But I decided that I wasn't really feeling it because honestly, I had a little bit of a doubting day in my business, and I decided that I'm just going to share very honestly and very openly about what I am currently feeling and kind of like tips and tricks I have for getting out of it, which is kind of this like doubt that I have, or like questioning, or like frustration, like, oh, this isn't gonna work, panic, fear, whatever. Okay. If you're running a small business and if you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna have those days where you're like, am I doing the right thing? Am I picking the right thing to focus on? What if this fails? What am I doing? Am I crazy? Should I just go back to my regular job? Because those are all the questions that I had today, and those questions come up every couple of weeks, and we just really need to figure out how to work around it because those days are going to come. So without further ado, this is why I am feeling discouraged in my business today, and 5 tips that I have to get out of it. So a little bit of background. I had a great yesterday. I had my first beta class for my coaching program that I was doing. I had my first team lunch with my 2 employees. And it was our first team meeting ever. And I was like on top of the world, like, wow, I'm so excited for my curriculum next year. I'm super excited for like my team. I can't believe I have a team. It was a great day. Come today and come this morning, I got an email from the manufacturer that I'm working on for a new product. Very, very exciting. I am trying to make baby products and baby swaddles. I announced it earlier this week, and I fortunately got a lot of really big excitement when I was like, yay, they are coming October of this year. But I got an email today from my manufacturer that said something about the certification of cotton in the US, and it was really confusing, and I was like, oh my gosh. I've really been trying to learn about compliance and safety testing and lead testing and all these things and materials and fireproof testing, I don't know, all these things with compliance and testing, and it is super confusing. So that kind of led me in this spiral of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like maybe I should just abandon baby products altogether, but I just announced it. What does that mean for my customers? Like, do I even have the vision for pickles right? And then I got frustrated, like, oh, I have to do this freaking YouTube video, and I've shared over and over again, I hate making these YouTube videos because I don't have a super large audience on here yet, I'm hoping, and I'm just used to more like engagement and more views and more honestly more return on investment on my marketing efforts on Instagram, right? So I feel like YouTube is a waste of time, etc., right? So I think it's important to say that these days are going to come no matter what you are doing, whether you are a small business owner or if you're working corporate or you are just a human being. That is the beauty of the human life. It is going to have its ups and downs. So I just really want to emphasize that we are not trying to avoid these days, and because they're inevitable. But I do have some tips that have worked for me to like kind of pull myself out of these so that tomorrow will be a more hopeful day for my small business. And I wanted to share those with you. Number one, that always really helps me, I check where I was a year ago today exactly. So I Instagram story a lot, and I show the progress of my business very openly, pretty much nearly every day for the past 3 years. So a trick that I really like to do is I scroll back to my archives on Instagram and I look, what was I doing exactly on this day or on this week? It makes me feel really happy because the progress from a year is crazy. It's very easy to kind of like look at where we are right now and be like, everything I'm doing is wrong. I just wasted a bunch of time doing that. This sales didn't work out. This product is failing, etc. And be like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not doing well. But if you look at where you are from a year ago, I bet you will feel a lot better because you're like, I have made great strides in a year, and that's something to be celebrated. That brings me to my number 2 point, which is if you're not already writing down your big wins on like a Google Doc somewhere, or even writing down a journal somewhere on like a weekly or monthly or quarterly basis, you should be doing that, because that is the second thing that I do to get myself out of these things. I have a running list of things that I've accomplished on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. So I will write even really small things, right? Like, oh, I posted 2 reels this week, and it was the first time I ever posted 2 reels because I suck at reels, right? So just small accomplishments like that when you look at it from like a bird's eye perspective, you're like, wow, I've done a lot in this past month. I've done a lot in this past 3 months. And you're like, my progress doesn't feel as slow when you look at it from a bird's eye view than when you're just looking at it from a frustrating about a single point of time or a single product or whatever point of view. So document and then celebrate those wins when you are not in a place of feeling like you are doing enough or you're doing a good job. So number 3 advice I have is to talk it out. And of course, everyone knows that community and friendships are very important. And hopefully you have friends or, a partner that you are kind of talking through your day and your business stuff with. But the game changer I have found in my business in this past year is that it makes a difference when you're talking to another small business owner. So I have found some small business owner friends. I literally just like slid into their DMs and I was like, I really admire your business. do you mind if, we kind of keep each other accountable, if we kind of just like talk here and there? And it is really invaluable that I have those people that I literally can just message. I literally leave them voice memos when I'm feeling kind of down. I was telling, my small business friend today, like all these things with this swaddle. I was telling another small business friend about, oh my God, I don't want to film my YouTube video. And after I just like verbally processed why I was feeling that, how I was feeling, how I felt like, is it a waste of time? Am I even doing this right? I instantly felt better because it's just like therapeutic to really get out your thoughts and have someone who really kind of understands the small business world. So that instantly made me feel better. And then when they responded and encouraged me, because that's what great friends do, I felt even better, right? So that's something that I would really encourage you to have. If you don't have small business friends doing this journey with you, connect with some people on Facebook groups, on the Instagram. Just try to, again, slide into those DMs and make those connections, because I have really found that that is invaluable for me, as I have lost my coworkers when I quit my full-time job. The next tip I have is to not look at social media. So another obvious tip that I hope you know, but when you find yourself scrolling and you are feeling worse and instead of inspired, that is when it's time to stop. So I have a big rule for me. I'm on Instagram a lot, but I'm not consuming, I am creating. So my rule is always like, I am on there 80% creating and 20% consuming. That's like my 80-20 rule for Instagram, right? Instagram is a great place for inspiration. Instagram is a great place to get ideas and get connected with other small business owners. But you should be primarily on there trying to promote your own business, then find other businesses to be jealous of and make you feel insecure and make you feel not as motivated, right? I really see social media as a tool to motivate myself and not a tool to kind of bring myself down. So that's what I would really recommend. If you're not feeling good, limit that social media time, because I think when you're already in that mind space of not feeling great, you'll be tempted to be like, oh my gosh, I have so far to go. Oh my gosh, I would never be able to do what they do, right? So for me, on these days particularly, I am really strict about my scrolling on social media. I'm only there to create, not consume. Lastly, and this is a big tip that I've learned over the years as well, I would encourage you to try and figure out how many hours a week that you are working on your small business and count those hours and then cap it. I am kind of a workaholic. I love working. I get bored really easily, and it's really tempting for me to just keep working. But I have found that I burn out really fast, just like anyone does. And so now when I have hit my cap, I tell myself that it's okay, I can do it tomorrow. Nobody dies if I don't do it. My small business only really relies on me, and it's totally okay. And it's better if my candle runs long than if I just burn out really quickly. And my progress stops in a week versus a year from now, right? So that marathon mindset is really important for small businesses. And even on days like today, where I feel like I took 10 steps backwards because of the email that I got that is confusing to me, and I'm like, oh my God, I took 10 steps backwards, so I need to work like 2 hours extra at night because I need to make up for it. I really limit myself and tell myself that, number one, my life is not my business. That is very important. There's so much more to life beyond my business, as much as I love it. And number two, it is more important for me to have this long marathon mindset than just try and sprint it until the end of today. I feel really good about this YouTube video. I didn't know what to talk about, but this feels really honest and open, and I hope it is helpful for you. Again, those days will always come, but try and use these tips to kind of pull yourself out of it and know that tomorrow will be a better day. And know the most important thing is to keep going. When you are running a small business, it seems very linear when you look at other people's journeys, but that's not true. There's a lot of like ups and downs that people just don't really share about, right? So you might feel like you're on a down, but you're still going forward. You know what I mean? Like you're still going up in the law of averages of everything, right? So the most important thing is to keep going instead of just stopping and feeling discouraged and stopping, period. I will also remind everybody that summer months are slow. So if your sales are slow during the summer, it is totally normal. Fall is about to come and holidays are about to come. So just be excited for when those sales pick up in the fall and the winter, and hope you're creating those systems so that you can scale during those high sale times.